Let me ask you something. Have you ever hung out with a girl, driven home, and then just laid there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, thinking, wait, was that something? Or am I completely making this up? She laughed a little too hard at something you said. She stayed way longer than she needed to. She texted you first, out of nowhere, no reason, no context. But she never actually said anything. No move, no hint, nothing direct. So now you're lying there running through the whole night like game tape, second-guessing every moment. Here's what I want to tell you right now. You're not crazy. Women almost never come out and say, underscore, underscore, quote, underscore, one, underscore, underscore. Not because they're playing games. Not because they're being manipulative. It's because they have a self-protection mechanism that kicks in before vulnerability does. They are terrified of being rejected. And honestly, so are we. But the way it shows up in women is different. It shows up in behavior, in small, specific signals that most guys completely miss because they're either not looking or they don't know what they're looking at. Today, I'm going to walk you through 9 of those signals. Real ones. Not the fluffy magazine stuff like, she twirls her hair, or she makes eye contact. I'm talking about patterns, combinations, the kind of things that, once you see them, you cannot unsee. And I'll be real with you. I missed some of these myself. Cost me. I'll tell you about one specific situation when we get to sign number 7. That one still gets me. By the end of this, you're going to look back at situations in your own life differently. And I'd bet money that at least one specific person is going to come to mind. Let's get into it. Most videos on this topic hand you a checklist of surface-level stuff. She tilts her head, she faces toward you, she lights up when you walk in. That's all real, but it's also incomplete because plenty of girls do those things with everyone. What I'm talking about is different. I'm talking about patterns, clusters of behavior, the way signals stack on top of each other until the picture becomes undeniable. One sign means nothing. 2 signs may be coincidence. But when you start seeing 3, 4, 5 of the things I'm about to describe in the same person consistently over time, that's not a coincidence. That's your answer. 9 signs. Let's go. Here's a scene you've probably lived. You're at work, at school, at a party, doesn't matter. And she comes up to you with a question. Something simple. Something she honestly could have figured out herself or asked literally anyone else. Quote 5, quote 6, quote 7. On the surface, just conversation. Could mean nothing. But here's the thing you need to understand. When a woman is not interested in a guy, she does not go out of her way to manufacture reasons to interact with him. She's cordial when she has to be, and that's it. No initiative, no unnecessary contact. She's got a million other things going on. When she is interested, she looks for entry points. Because she wants proximity to you, but she doesn't want to be exposed. A question, a little favor, a random comment. Those are safe. They let her be near you without putting herself out there. In texts, it looks like this. She sends you a meme with no context. She forwards you a video with the caption, "This is literally you." She shoots you a random, "Hey," at 10 p.m. on a Tuesday for no apparent reason. None of that is random. That's her throwing a pebble at your window. Let me tell you something personal. There was a girl I used to hang out with in college. We were in the same friend group, just talking at a party one night. At some point, I mentioned, completely offhand, that I can't stand cilantro. One sentence, total throwaway. About 3 weeks later, we were at this cookout. Someone was putting food on plates, and she goes, without even thinking about it, "Don't put that on his. He hates cilantro." I thought nothing of it at the time. Just figured she had a good memory. People remember stuff. No, they don't. Not like that. Think about how much information passes through your brain every single day. Conversations, notifications, news, noise. It's relentless. Your brain does not store all of it. It filters. It keeps what it decides matters. If a girl remembers that you mentioned 3 weeks ago that your coffee order is oat milk, no sugar, or that you've been stressed about something at work, or that you've got a complicated thing going on with your dad, that didn't happen by accident. That happened because when you were talking, she wasn't just hearing you. She was listening. She was filing it away. She was studying you. You don't do that for people you don't care about. And pay attention to this layer on top of it. When she brings those details back up, she's not doing it randomly. She's signaling something. She's telling you without telling you. Underscore, underscore, quote, underscore, 11, underscore, underscore, underscore. This is the one that's visible. But most guys aren't actually looking. Body language doesn't lie the way words can. You can control what you say. You can't fully control what your body does. And women, even women who are very careful about not showing their hand, cannot completely suppress this. Here are the 3 things I watch for. Where her feet are pointing. This sounds weird, but it's one of the most reliable signals in the room. When someone is engaged and drawn toward another person, their body, from the feet up, physically orients in that direction. If you're in a group of 4 people and her feet are pointed at you rather than at the center of the group, that's not an accident. The body goes where the attention is. How close she gets. Everyone has a personal space bubble, roughly an arm's length. People unconsciously maintain that distance with people they're neutral about. If she keeps ending up closer than that, she sat down next to you when there were other seats. She stepped in during a conversation when she didn't have to. She leans in, even in a quiet room. She's not doing that by accident. Proximity is comfort. Comfort is interest. Mirroring. You lean back, she leans back. You cross your arms, she crosses hers. You shift your weight, she shifts. This is called behavioral mirroring, and it's one of the most well-documented unconscious signals in all of social psychology. The brain automatically does this with people it's drawn to. It's the body saying quote underscore 12 underscore before the mind decides to say anything at all. Once is nothing. Consistently across multiple interactions, that's a pattern. I'm not talking about a dramatic scene, no eye rolling, no quote underscore 13 quote blow up. That would be obvious. I'm talking about something that lasts less than a second, and then she recovers. You mention a girl, a coworker, a friend, someone you know from the gym. Doesn't matter who. Just a name that comes up naturally, and for just a moment, something shifts. Her smile gets slightly tighter. She asks a follow-up question she didn't need to ask. Oh, how do you know her? You guys hang out a lot? Is she in your building? Or the opposite, she suddenly changes the subject, or her responses get shorter for a minute, or there's a beat where the energy just drops. This is called emotional investment showing up uninvited. She reacts because she cares. Someone who has zero interest in you does not care who else is in your life. It doesn't land anywhere. It doesn't register. The key is to watch the first half second before she has time to smooth it over and redirect. That's when you see the real thing. What she says after that is managed. What happened in her face before she managed it, that's the truth. If you've already recognized yourself in 2 or 3 of these, don't jump to conclusions yet. Because the next 5 signs are where most guys either figure it out or blow it entirely. Especially sign 7. I'll tell you what happened when I missed that one. Keep watching. Let's be straight about something. When you text someone first with no specific purpose, just because, you do it because you were thinking about that person, because you wanted some kind of connection, because something reminded you of them and you just went with it. Girls work the exact same way, except they're far more guarded about it. Because texting first, especially with no real reason, is a small act of vulnerability. It's a tiny admission. __quote _17 ___. That's why when she texts you first, unprompted, it carries weight. I just saw this and thought of you. Hey, random question. Did that thing work out you were telling me about? Okay, have you watched the new season yet or not? That's not information transfer. That's contact for the sake of contact. And here's the detail that matters most. Timing. If she's texting you late at night, 11 p.m., midnight, 1 a.m., that is its own signal on top of the signal. Late at night, the filters come down. The logic brain goes quiet. People reach out to the people they're actually thinking about, not people they're mildly friendly with, not out of obligation, out of want. A late-night text with no agenda isn't boredom. It's, I'm thinking about you, and I wanted to be in your world for a minute. You've seen her in a group. She's funny, sharp, maybe a little sarcastic. She holds her own. That's just who she is. She's like that with everyone. But something shifts when it becomes just you two, or even when the conversation just turns toward you in a group. Her voice gets a little softer. The pace slows down slightly. There's a warmth that wasn't there a second ago. She's not performing it. It's not calculated. It just happens. What you're observing is a nervous system response. When a woman is around someone she's genuinely drawn to, she involuntarily relaxes and opens up at the same time. There's a softness that comes out, more attentive, more present, less defended. It's not fake warmth. It's the opposite of fake. It's the warmth that comes out when someone can't help it. You won't be able to point to one specific thing she did or said. It'll just feel different. Like the temperature went up 3 degrees when it was just the two of you. Like she was fully there in a way she wasn't with the other people in the room. Here's the test. Compare how she acts with you versus how she acts with other guys in the same setting. If there's a consistent, noticeable difference, that's not random. You don't get a different version of someone by accident. Okay, here it is. There was a girl I was getting to know. We'd been in the same circle for a while, hanging out at the same events, texting here and there. Things felt easy, good energy. And then one night she started asking me certain kinds of questions. Quote 22, quote 23, quote 24. I answered kind of casually, kind of vaguely, and moved on to something else. I didn't pick up what was happening. I thought it was just conversation. She stopped asking. Month later, she was dating someone else. Here's what I understand now that I didn't then. That wasn't small talk. That was reconnaissance. She was checking to see if I was available. She was checking to see if I was emotionally open. She was, in the most careful way possible, asking for permission to move forward. And I fumbled it completely. Women do not ask, quote 25, out of idle curiosity. That is not a casual question. It has a specific purpose. She's trying to figure out if there's a door, and if so, whether it's open. The indirect versions are just as telling. What's your type? Are you a planner or more spontaneous? Would you ever make the first move, or would you wait? She's not building a profile for fun. She's collecting information to decide whether the risk of showing her hand is worth it. If she's asking these questions, she's already past the point of, do I like him? She's at __, quote, _30 __. Most conversations have a natural end point. The energy runs out, someone says, quote, _31 _, and it wraps up. That's just how it goes. But when a girl is interested, Watch what happens when a conversation should logically be over. You send something that closes the loop. Yeah, that makes sense. Haha, fair enough. Good call. Any of those should be the last message. The conversation is done. She adds something new, a question, a related story, a pivot to a different topic. She finds a thread and pulls it. She doesn't want the conversation to end. Not because she's bored and has nothing else to do, because talking to you gives her something, a feeling, a vibe, an energy she doesn't want to lose, and she's trying to hold on to it a little longer. Pay attention to the length of her responses, too. When someone isn't into a conversation, they go short. Quote 35, quote 36, quote 37. 2 words and done. When someone is in it, their answers are longer than the question required. She gives you more context than you asked for. She adds her own opinion when you didn't ask for one. She brings something of herself into the reply because she wants you to know her, not just talk to her. The rule is simple. People who want the conversation to end, let it end. People who don't. This one, when it happens, basically ends the debate. You meet her friends for the first time, and they already know your name. They know some story about you. They look at you with a certain specific energy, that look that happens when someone's been talked about before the introduction. Or, and this is even more telling, one of them almost slips. Underscore, underscore, quote, underscore, 38, underscore, underscore, and then catches herself. Or they exchange a glance when you're not supposed to notice. Or one of them straight up goes, "Oh, that's who you are," and then plays it off. Here's the thing about that. Women do not tell their friends about people who don't matter to them. A girl's friend group is not a random audience for stories about acquaintances. If she's talking about you, if she's mentioned you enough that her friends know details, have opinions, are paying attention when you show up, it means you occupy real estate in her mind. You're not a passing thought. You're a recurring one. She's been bringing you up, analyzing conversations with you, wondering, working it out loud with the people she trusts. One time, a friend of a girl I was into walked up to me at a bar and said, "She talks about you all the time, just so you know." The girl went red and immediately changed the subject. I didn't need anything else after that. Let's add this up. 1 sign out of 9? Could be a coincidence. Could be her personality, her social style, just how she is. 2 signs? Possible. Maybe. 3, 4, 5? That is no longer a question of, does she like me? That is a question of, why haven't I done anything yet? Here's the thing I want you to actually take from this. Women don't go first. Not because they're cold, not because they're not interested, but because the fear of rejection is one of the most powerful things a person can feel. And women are socialized to feel it more acutely, more early, more often than most men are. They are not going to put themselves out there until they feel like the odds are reasonable. So instead, they send signals, small, deniable signals that give them cover if it doesn't go the right way. They're waiting to see if you're paying attention, and they're waiting to see if you're confident enough to act on what you see. If you've been watching this and a specific name came to mind, not a vague maybe, but an actual person, that didn't happen by accident. Your brain made a connection. Your gut is giving you information. Don't wait for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is when you see the signals and you move. That's it, nothing else. Because here's what nobody tells you. The window doesn't stay open indefinitely. Women don't signal forever. At some point, they protect themselves. They stop reaching out. They redirect their energy. They assume you're not interested and move on, and you're left staring at your phone, wondering what happened to that thing that felt like it was going somewhere. The signals are the invitation. You still have to walk through the door. Knowing the signs is the first part, but it's only half the battle. Because you can see everything correctly. You can clock every signal, read every situation right, and then send one wrong text and watch the whole thing collapse in real time. The quote _43_ that sounds try hard. The reply that's too eager. The message that kills the momentum she was building toward you. That's what the next video is about. How to actually talk to her in a way that doesn't kill what's already there. How to keep the interest growing instead of accidentally cooling it off. How to not become another forgettable chat in her phone that she answers out of politeness and then mutes. If you've made it this far, you're the kind of guy who actually thinks about this stuff. Don't stop now. See you in the next one.